A software engineer is writing code at 2 in the morning, overtime, deadline, the usual. Then his screen freezes, login fails. He tries again, nothing. He doesn't know it yet, but he's already been erased from the company. Fired while typing. His access revoked mid-keystroke, somewhere between one line of code and the next.
This is how careers end in Silicon Valley now. Not with a conversation, not with a box of belongings, with a permission denied.
October 2025, Amazon. Dung wakes up to her phone buzzing. Friends are texting each other the same question. Check your access. She nudges her husband, Lee. He's been with the company for 10 years, senior engineer, e-commerce. He opens his laptop, enters his credentials, and the page just stops, won't load. 10 years of his life, and it ends with a loading wheel that never completes.
Dung doesn't cry. She doesn't scream. She says she almost laughed. It felt like a joke someone forgot to finish.
Across Seattle, another engineer named Xue wakes up to find her team gutted. 9 people the day before. 6 now. Her manager is gone. A colleague who'd been pushing code at 2 in the morning is gone. The company didn't tell anyone. People just started vanishing. Amazon's official filings would later confirm it. 14,000 layoffs in October alone. Nearly 40% of the technical positions eliminated. 1,800 engineers. But the numbers don't capture what happens at 6:47 in the morning when you realize you no longer exist in a system you helped build. The company cancels your badge immediately. Security protocol. They worry you might sabotage something on your way out. Xu spent days collecting her former colleagues' personal belongings from their desks, meeting them at restaurants to hand over mugs and photos. The corporation severs the connection so quickly that coworkers become strangers overnight.
For years, the path was clear. Get the degree. Learn to code. Get hired at a big tech company. The visa sponsors you. The company files your green card. You buy a house, start a family, and one day you're American. That was the architecture of the dream. Lee followed every step. So did tens of thousands of Chinese immigrants who flooded into computer science programs, abandoning medicine, law, literature, physics, anything that wouldn't convert into a 6-figure salary and a clear immigration pathway.
Dung arrived in Seattle in 2018 and noticed something strange about her graduate program. 90% Chinese. Almost none of them had studied computer science before. They were refugees from other fields, all converging on the same narrow bridge they'd been told was the safest crossing. In 2017, when Lee was job hunting, he received 20 interview requests, 5 offers. He picked Amazon. The company was building 40 office towers in downtown Seattle, 4 million square feet of workspace. The city was transforming around him. The money was real. The trajectory was visible. You could stand at one point in your career and see exactly where you'd be in 5 years, in 10. Dung joined a company she calls the Dream Factory. She made over $100,000 straight out of school. She clocked in at 10, clocked out at 5, rarely stayed late. Once, she went into the office on a Saturday, and a colleague looked at her like she'd lost her mind. The only acceptable reason to be there on a weekend, he said, was to use the company printer for personal errands. Not to work. Never to work.
That world is gone now.
The pandemic pulled everything online. E-commerce surged. Cloud services became essential. Companies hired like the growth would never end. Amazon alone added 55,000 corporate and technical positions in a single year. Meta expanded. Google expanded. Money was cheap. Optimism was doctrine. Then interest rates rose. Consumer spending cooled. The projections didn't materialize. Mark Zuckerberg sent a company-wide email admitting he'd been wrong. He said he'd expected the pandemic acceleration to be permanent. It wasn't. The correction came fast. Over 260,000 tech jobs eliminated in 2023. Another 150,000 in 2024. And the bleeding continues. Meta announced 1,000 more cuts in January 2026. Amazon keeps filing warn notices. The layoffs don't follow logic. Senior people, junior people, high performers, low performers. No pattern. Just algorithms and spreadsheets and a word that keeps appearing in the HR memos. Efficiency.
The only safe zone now is artificial intelligence. If your job touches a large language model, if you work on infrastructure for machine learning, you might survive. Everyone else is a liability being measured against the cost of a GPU cluster.
One engineer named Du spent months trying to transfer internally. She sent 30 applications, cold emailed managers, begged her way into a team working on AI. She got the spot. The perks followed immediately. Her old division gave one top performance rating per 100 people. Her new team of 15 had two. Promotions came faster. Resources flowed. She felt the current pulling her forward. But the pressure intensified. Her teammates are 25, 26 years old, working until 11 at night, shipping features in a week that used to take a month. Everyone's watching what the Chinese labs are doing. When DeepSeek released its model last year, American tech panicked. The lead they assumed they had evaporated overnight. Now every company is sprinting and no one knows where the finish line is. Or if there is one. There's a term circulating on Chinese internet forums, the kill line. It comes from video games. When your health drops below a certain threshold, a skilled opponent can execute you in a single strike. In real life, the kill line is the moment when one bad event triggers a chain reaction that drags you from middle class to poverty, and you can't climb back.
Deng's household income was $500,000 a year. She saved carefully. No luxury purchases. Still, she does the math. $7,000 a month in mortgage payments, another $2,000 for utilities, food, insurance, car payments, $10,000 a month in fixed costs. If both she and her husband lost their jobs at the same time, how long until the floor gives out?
The American system has a net, but it's positioned very low. In Seattle, Medicaid eligibility requires an annual income below $20,000. Above that line, you're on your own. You can make $80,000 a year and still be one diagnosis away from bankruptcy. A man named Jeremy Barker lives in Georgia. He's 43, self-taught software developer. He clawed his way out of McDonald's into tech, eventually earning $90,000 a year. He has $12,000 in credit card debt. His water heater has been leaking for 4 years. Rather than pay $1,200 to fix it, he drains it manually every day with a tube. Because that's cheaper than the repair. And then there's the visa trap. For foreign workers, the pathway to a green card requires something called PERM certification. The company must prove it tried to hire an American and couldn't. But once layoffs begin, the company legally cannot file new PERMs. The moment you're most vulnerable is the moment your immigration case dies. Your career emergency becomes a residency emergency. And the clock starts. You have 60 days to find a new sponsor or leave the country.
Shay was lucky. A family member had already secured a green card, so she had a backup path. Most of her classmates don't. They're trapped in a narrowing corridor. Every month, the odds get worse.
Deng says that if she gets laid off, she'll go home to China. She's already rehearsed the decision. She misses the street food, the late-night baths, the ability to see a doctor without fear of a bill. She and her husband have agreed. If they decide to have children, they'll do it in China. Whether they ever return to America, she doesn't know. The dream of the last 20 years was simple. Work hard, climb the ladder, become American, but the ladder is retracting. The rungs are disappearing one by one. And the people still climbing are beginning to realize there might not be anything at the top but a locked door and a screen that says access denied.